Aloha lovelies, and welcome to Digital Alkhemi, where we are alchemizing our reality one bit at a time. So this is the space where we are taking over from Inspiral Out Loud. So all of those podcasts are still available on the various platforms, but we're moving into a space of digital alchemy now. So welcome, welcome. I am here with the beautiful Lyraligh from Courageous Love Now and Harmonize to One. Lyraligh, welcome, welcome. How are you today?
I'm so good. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. So we decided to do a podcast after a few discussions recently. It feels like there is much tumultuousness. There seems to be a lot of collective themes around really dislodging and clearing out lots of like old karmic junk and collective junk, and it seems to be really present around union and around relationships, especially around romantic relationships. And I feel like I've had so many of these conversations in the last few months, and they're really snowballing. So a lot of women seem to feel like they're losing their collective minds right now. So we thought we'd have a little heart to heart. So this is the art of falling. And so I thought let's start with the art of falling in love. And really speaking to the why that we need to have this discussion at the moment. And this was kind of prompted by a dreaming kind of space recently, where I felt like I was in a space of like accounts being like reconciled on a personal and kind of cosmic level as well. And that all seems to be happening and prompted to the umpteenth degree through relationships and so on. Lyraligh, what have you got to say about that? What's happening in your world and in the worlds around you?
Well, I would say, just speaking to, the art of falling in love, truly the last 6 months has been the art of falling in love with myself and with my reunion with the divine, and many names for it: source, God, my higher self, but truly like creating that love story. And what I'm recognizing is the falling is this surrender, right? I was contemplating it this morning, because the art of falling is truly the art of the surrender into the divine, is how I was really like sitting with it. And, some people see surrender as giving up, giving unto, losing yourself, like, so I surrender to this. But when it's like with anything, there's a yin and a yang perspective of it. And it just really was sitting like, no, the art of surrendering to that highest alignment, to that divine love story, with creation, with why we're here, with the bigger purpose. And through that is the falling away of all of the illusions that we have held to like keep us believing all the stories, right? And there's many stories that we collectively hold on to as we allow ourselves to surrender to that love story with the divine. And that's, truly every initiation, which we spoke of, that kind of births this, has been, whether it's karmic, it's collective, it's twin flame, it's the friendships, the relationships with family, with history, with the divine love story, and how we separated ourselves in that fall from grace to believe that we were unworthy of that unionship with ourself and the divine. And so, my human is in a pickle because I love unionship with a physical, and it's like, okay, I know that this purity and discipline that I've been practicing while living in Egypt for the last 6 months has been about me cultivating that love story with the divine, so that I can prepare my vessel for the physical in whatever context, so that walking that the wholeness walk in reclaiming my own power, reclaiming what that is for me is yeah, it's like, that is the art of falling in love. It's just, okay, how much more can I fully surrender and trust that I'm safe with the divine plan, with God, with source, with my higher purpose. And that, as a woman living in the patriarchy, as the patriarchy falls, we have to allow the patriarchy to fall out of us, to restore that inner remembrance of why the feminine is rising right now, and reclaim that power within our body complex. And so, yeah, that's what's big for me right now.
Yeah, and I'd like to touch on the idea or the theme of twin flames, because it was sort of introduced to me as a concept a while ago, and honestly, I kind of there's a lot of woo-woo kind of stuff out there around that kind of concept, and I think it can be easy to fall into a trap of staying in a toxic relationship because it's a twin flame. So therefore we have to go through these trials and tribulations, right? And I feel so there's a lot of women I know, for instance, that are either continuing those cycles for a very, very long time and really running themselves into the ground, or that have separated themselves and are feeling like literally the stars and the cosmos, like the whole cosmos has cracked and fallen apart. And whether or not it's the whole idea of of twin flames is actually a thing, I think it's really important to speak to that collective experience, because so many people feel like they're literally going crazy. And I did it as well. I thought I was absolutely losing my mind, and just going, why is this experience so different from any experience in the past? Why is this literally just shredding the whole foundation of my human experience? Why are the stars literally falling from the sky and smashing in a fiery
atomic explosion inside my being? Yes.
And I feel like it's because we're being so called to burn away every last iota of junk around self-worth, around self-love, around the balance between the masculine and feminine, as you mentioned before, about punishment just for being a woman, around persecution, like all of these old wounds that have been sitting and growing and accumulating in our collective field for thousands and thousands of years now. I feel the reason that, so many of us are having these intense relationship experiences is because, nothing quite pushes your button like a romantic relationship, especially an intense one, and especially one that feels like the one. It's like, okay, I'm home now. Okay, this is my guy. Okay, this is my safe space now. Yeah. And it seems to be such a common thread amongst probably dozens of people now that I know personally. And it was mainly in Egypt, but now it's moving further afield from other countries as well. And just that whole sense of, oh my goodness, the whole world isn't right. The whole cosmos isn't right without this union. What the hell is going on? And I think what is going on it's not right, because we are literally cracking that nut of the collective and shattering it. And that's why it feels so huge. And so we're just being pushed into these relationships that are just pummeling us on every single level and just demanding that we just completely undo ourselves just to this mark and be okay with that. What's that for you?
And yes, the doorway, right? The surrender is the doorway to that next chapter of, okay, I've now surrendered, and what's in the surrender? It's all the broken parts, all the pieces. It's like we've demolished the structure. We've gone into the fragmented soul part that we created through a matrix that was distorted. So we've gone into the distortion. We've broken it apart through our surrender. All the atomic fields within our structure is like lying on the ground. And we're like, okay, I am the divine mother, and I'm going to clean this room up, and I'm going to reorganize it, and I'm going to harmonize it into that highest alignment, right? We're like the multitaskers of the multidimensional realm, and it's like, and the way that it's so interesting is the way that I really moved through, at least the last chapter that I just recently went through with another initiation, was like, you think you're like, oh, here I am, I'm in flow state and everything's amazing. And then, wow, I'm a railroader because I let like just an iota of a frequency of that old construct back into my field, and it just demolished me. But now I'm like, within a couple days, I'm reorganized again. And it's like, okay, I've found my center again. I've realigned really quickly this time. I got to see it for what it was and recognize, oh, this is a very specific frequency. And that part of the twin flame, when I think of right, the flame is here to burn you down. It's to burn all illusions. So the twin flame is not like the one forever. It's the one that is going to help alchemize you into gold. It is the one that's going to help you make the decision, and maybe they'll grow with you at the same time, but you're sent into each other's fields to say you're ready to be fully up leveled to your highest frequency. Maybe that other person's frequency isn't going to match you once you get to the highest, but then that is your golden opportunity to decide, is this in alignment with now what I've alchemized through the destruction of everything that I've been and all the illusions that I've been holding. And so what's been really moving in me in the idea of frequency is the destruction came through as betrayal. That was my catalyst of destruction. And of course, every relationship is different. So what I've been contemplating is, what is the opposite frequency of betrayal? Devotion. How devoted am I to myself, to my highest calling? Because as long as there's betrayal, that there's a part of me that I'm betraying myself. And I think that that's the aspect of the feminine that we're rebirthing, because there's been so much betrayal and, as you said, persecution against the feminine, and what our codes, as like recoding the earth template, what our codes, our original template of Gaia is holding, we have to come back into that devotional frequency in order to override the polar opposite. Because union is, right, it's like merging the polarities into one. Well, we have to look at them, what are the opposites of any centered point, right? Happy and sad, love and fear, betrayal and devotion. And if we look at the immaculate couple of Yeshua and Mary, that's absolute devotional path. So how do I devote that golden alignment with my inner self? If I am faced with betrayal, there's an aspect of me that is still betraying myself. And that's like the part. So then we destroy the blame and the shame and it's their fault and they're the one who did this to me. No, we have to take total self-responsibility as we alchemize into gold and say, no, I'm golden and I choose this path and I will align with my highest timeline. I will align with my highest divine union inside me first. Then I can call it outside. Because to me, a twin flame is not a divine union. It's a preparation. It could end up being your divine union, but that's like the final chapter of like burning every illusion down to raw atoms, and then you rebuild the structure into that highest blueprint.
Yeah, and that's a really good point, isn't it? That, you know, some people feel like, you know, because something is a twin flame, then therefore they need to maintain this connection with somebody, because otherwise they're basically rejecting part of themselves, and actually let's come to what the idea of a twin flame even is. And from my understanding, the theory of it is that a twin flame is basically a soul that's kind of been split in two in order to catalyze each other into some kind of growth. And whether it's that, or whether it's just simply somebody that we have some kind of soul contract with, or that we, magnetize into our existence to make sure that we're really prodded into facing all of the last shards of our shadow selves. It doesn't really matter to me like what the actual reality is. It's more like, what effect does that have? So I would just invite people to not become too attached to the notion of what a twin flame is. But it's interesting, talking about the betrayal. Like, I think, each woman is going to bring up a reflection based on what her core thing is. And so I've been looking, for instance, at the mirroring of my relationship status, which always has been rejection. And I remember when I was doing the session with you, and the words came out from your mouth of like, how dare you? Like, how dare you leave me behind, or how dare you push me away? And it was so interesting because, my birthing process was that I was taken away from mum, and I didn't get to see her for like 3 days. So for 3 days, my entire field was just desperate for this connection to this safety and this security, and my lifeline that wasn't there. And I didn't have any context of her. So my inner realm was just this fierce rage of just, how dare you? And so then that has replicated itself time and time again. And then, it manifested in the latest situation as well. And it's absolutely perfect. Like, what a perfect mirror to just go, wow, I have not mothered myself. I pulled my ass through all of the dark corners, but I haven't actually mothered myself. And when you're talking about the balance between, finding our own balance of masculine and feminine, I think it's so medicinal to look at, what are the bits that we're seeking from our partner? What are those, masculine traits of, the safety and the security and feeling okay in the body, and being able to just let go and relax, and, whatever it is that we're wanting to seek in another, and learning how to bring it about in ourselves. And so that later, perhaps potentially there might be reunion, but if not, well, that's okay. That's fine, because we've created it for ourselves anyway. And this is the only bit we've got any control over, right?
Well, it's interesting when you speak about that. What just is coming to me is, we've seen this empowerment aspect, the women's lib from the 70s all the way up, of like emancipating the feminine, but the feminine role took on a masculine container. They still were operating from a toxic patriarchal role of fighting and pushing, and I will claim my rights, and I can do it too. Look at me, I'm strong. I can smoke, I can drink, I can be free, I can whatever, right? When we look truly at that balance of the harmonization of the union within us, within the masculine, as you just said, safety and protection and power and strength is the masculine, but the softness and the ease and the flows and the gentleness. So this feminine aspect that we are now rebirthing and allowing them to both exist simultaneously. And so that we're not taking on, I can be just like you. Like, that was me growing up. I can be just like my brother and I'll get my dad's love if I can do all the things my brother can do. It was like, and so I was the tomboy, because I thought that's how I got the clout, is if I was strong like the boy. And instead of, I overrid all my sensitivity until finally years later, I'm like, oh, wait, I'm just a fragile little butterfly. And like, I really want to express this sensitivity. And the birth of my feminine came online. And so now this discernment within within the feminine, because I have people like, oh, so what, you think you're, you're better than the man because you're working, you're a priestess, you're a this, you're that. No, this is my sanctum. This is my temple. This is my church. I go here in my body complex to unify the divine, because the divine is masculine and feminine, but it has an incredible structure. But then it brings the essence, it brings the light of the father with the sound of the mother. That's the cross, right? The light coming down with the harmonized field of the feminine. So if I find my center point, my cross, my holy cross inside me, then I unify that field. Then I can build. It's like the center of the atom is the dot. It's the 0 point. I have to find that 0 point field. Then I find my light. Then I find my sound and my frequency. Then I build my inner universe and know, oh, this is me fully unified in the masculine and feminine. But if I go from an outside perspective of what a woman becoming strong and unifying, it's like, oh, I ain't gonna na with a man because, I don't need a man. I don't, we're dissolving all of those old templates, all of that resistance against something. Because as long as there's resistance, you've got charge. If I'm in a 0 point field, that means there's harmony. There's no charge. You have no power over me. That's sovereignty. 0 point field. And that's not, I'm this, and so I'm better than you. No, I'm in neutrality, total neutrality. I have total compassion for my twin flame that supercharged me and broke me down and supercharged me and broke me down. And it was like, oh, I kept coming back into a field. That's the charge. The twin flame is activating a supercharge in you to come into your soul essence. And that's why they're so powerful. They break you down so you can rebuild yourself. But somehow there's a soul contract there in order to do that, because this is how you find your center point. And you become the atomic field now that creates your universe around you without need or desperation or abandonment or betrayal or whatever. It's no, now I'm not charged by anything. I find balance and harmony. So yeah, I just wanted to speak to that.
Yeah, beautifully said. And it brought to mind a few things actually that, well, the important thing to me is, balancing masculine and feminine isn't around removing the roles of the man and the woman, because we're very different creatures and we've been created for very different purposes. And we're supposed to be in union, and we're supposed to be honoring who we are. And, I remember watching Wonder Woman, like the recent version of Wonder Woman. And I was so disillusioned by it because, this idea of bringing through the warrior priestess, okay, fine, that's beautiful and awesome and strong. But she didn't behave like a warrioress. She behaved like a man. And I don't know if you saw the story, but in the end, she was about to defeat her opponent. And there was a moment where you saw she had the choice to overpower the opponent, but let him live or die. Mm-hmm. And a woman would have had compassion at that time. Mm-hmm. And to me, the woman would have bound the enemy to make sure that they could do no harm, but they wouldn't have actually killed them. But she ended up killing them. And I was speaking to my friend about it, just asking them, what do you think about it? And he said, they just made her to be a man. That's not balance. That's just getting into that.
Woman, yeah, sorry. I was just going to say the woman in you, and I would say the feminine, because there's men that are deeply feminine that would not have let that happen. That's the man that holds the Christ consciousness, knows that compassion is first. I will not take another life. That's a man balanced in his feminine. That's the natural heart of most women. But there are women that are sorceress energies that would totally okay, let's destroy, right? But we know that the feminine within the being, the human being, is that natural ability to be compassionate, which is what is coming online when an awakened man that's unified in both as masculine and feminine works from, because that's the balanced human.
Mm. And I need to touch on, although we're not talking about commerce, this kind of feels relevant at the moment as well, of the idea of the merchant priests from Hatshepsut's time, who we hear, balancing the fields of commerce, and each male had a feminine counterpart, and she would be working more in the ethereal realms. And that carried through to the Knights of the Round Table, that apparently they had the ladies of the round that were working in the ethereal realm to basically protect and support the men. And to me, there's incredible honor and beauty in that. And if I am true to myself, my strength is in the dreaming. It is in the energy work. It's not in the left brain direction. And in our family, I let the man get out there and do a lot of the brain work, because that's the strength. It's not my strength. My strength is in the intuition and the sensing and the energy work and the emotional dialogues and the creating of ease. And it is that. And I think honoring our strength, like that is to me like bringing the masculine online, of discovering what all of our strengths are and aligning completely with that, not trying to be something we're not. Then we end up with the alphabet police, just trying to destroy family units and all of that kind of stuff. And that's a whole other conversation in itself, isn't it?
Yeah.
So then the art of falling down. It's really messy, right? Well, the number of conversations I've had of women that are just like, and to all the guys out there that are falling down as well, this is to you as well. I just haven't had the conversations with the men because they're just not in my world right now. So this is not to say that the men aren't suffering deeply as well, because I know that they are. But certainly the conversations I've had with women, they're just like, sometimes I can't get out of bed. Sometimes I just can't stop crying for like 5 hours. Sometimes I can't feed myself. Sometimes I just can't. I just can't. I just don't even have the words. Sometimes for me, I just feel so heavy. I feel like I'm actually going to fall through my bed with just the heaviness and the weight of the fracturing of this union, right? And it feels like it's never going to end. And then, we've been talking about getting to like the next layer and going, okay, I feel like I've done that bit now. Okay, maybe we can move on. And then it comes up again and again and again. And the grief of it is really phenomenal. And I feel like we just need to be so incredibly gentle with ourselves at this time, And it's not like a normal grief, and it's not like a normal union and dissolution. What's the word? Dissolvingment. Like it's not normal. It's not usual. This is a different one, and it is a messier one. And I think that the cycles do keep coming because we're working on all the different layers of ourselves, and then we're working on the collective feminine, and then we're working on the realm of the earth and the realm of the cosmos and the realm of the universe, and like so many different unimaginable realms, and dealing with our layers and layers of ancestral junk around all of this as well. We need to give ourselves time and just be really messy. And I was doing a whole lot of processing the other day because I got a massive eye infection that I'm sure was like tied up with that, because it's all tied up with the liver and all of the anger and all of that kind of stuff that can't just get out anywhere, and ended up just with a huge big swollen face. I literally looked like I'd been punched in the face by the cosmos. And so I ended up doing some qigong And it was one specifically for the liver. And the instructor said, okay, while you're doing this process, just imagine whoever it is in your realm that is causing you all of this anger. So I'm just in the middle of my room, like just doing all this qigong, just bawling my eyes out, just feeling so messy and ridiculous, feeling all of my angels kind of holding me, but also kind of laughing at me a little bit at the same time. We've got to be so messy and just let ourselves be messy.
Yeah.
What say you?
Yeah, what say me? Beautiful. And you know, like kind of from the falling in love and then the falling apart, right? That full surrender, that like I am going to surrender is the final, like I'm falling down, right? I've pulled apart the construct. Now I'm allowing myself to be humbled by the experience of being human. I know that I'm the divine. I am bringing heaven to earth. I am a construct and a blueprint of the original creation. But in order for me to rebuild, I have to land on the ground and I have to be humble to the human experience. And that is exactly what you've just spoken into is, you know, a year ago, I did like a 6-week surrender practice when I had my biggest catapult with my twin flame and broke me the first time initially. And it's been this kind of like cycling of recognizing where I need to show up and surrender again. Oh, there's another hook. Oh, there's another thing, a thread. Okay, I need to surrender to it. I need to humble myself to the fact that I'm not. there is no control here. This is all an illusion. And the more that I humble myself and get down on the ground and get into my body, and when I say get on the ground, it's not like, okay, I'm grounding in the banana fields behind, you know, next to my house, but it is also getting on the ground into your body because our body is the earth elements. So movement and sound to allow the illusionary energies, the frequencies that have been hooks and inlays and persecution imprints and all of this that we've absorbed because we're like sponges learning how to maneuver in this matrix. We have to go to ground zero. That's part of the 0 point practice. It's not like, oh, I hold it for a moment. No, 0 point practice is humbling yourself that I'm in a human vessel. I'm made of the elements, but I'm bringing heaven into earth. And so how do I do that? I have to move my body. I have to sound the vibration of the feminine. And that means crying, screaming, harmonizing, singing, whatever it looks like, toning, finding. I mean, and my work with sound is toning the frequencies that are distorted within the body. This is like the work I do on people. It's the work I do in sound journeys. It's the work I do on myself. So when I feel something, it's like, this is energy in motion. Okay, where is it held in my body? I find it in my physical complex. If that frequency of pain, of distortion has a sound, what is it? Find it. Listen until I hear the sound. Then I allow it to have a voice. And that voice might be a screech. It might be a gurgle. It might be like, ah, right? It's like whatever it is that needs to be sounded out. If we put it into a story, it comes through as a loop and it continues in the mind construct as a loop. If we give it a sound, there's no story to it. We go to the primordial essence of what that frequency hook is in our physiology, in our liver, in our hip, in our jaw, in the back of our head, wherever it is. We can attune ourselves to listen to what that frequency is telling us. As soon as we give it a voice and allow it, it's like, oh, I finally let it out. It's like exorcise the demons. You know, you're like literally giving it a sound to exit. And then the next is, what would be the polar opposite, like betrayal and devotion? This is the sound of betrayal. Maybe it's a screech. Ah! Betrayal. What's the sound of devotion? Maybe there's a tone within the screech and the devotion that's the same. They carry something similar because they're on a spectrum. This is the polar opposite. So when we like can find the energy body, the emotion, give it a sound to exit our body and then harmonize it. This is then bringing it into a divine union, because we're hitting the harmonics of the universe and not the distortion of the matrix and the patriarchal construct that has been holding us in its headlock for centuries, you know? So like for me, it's just, I let go of control. Let me go. Let me go. I don't want to hold this energy in my body. Surrender. Set me free. And the only way to do that is to harmonize it and go through the center of it, not spiritually bypass it and give yourself a new story. Oh, I'm strong. I can do this. I'll do these mantras and I'll be done. No, what's really showing up right now? What is every day, every moment? This is the divine feminine. As you just said, like this, to be intuitive, to feel the energies, to feel the subtle realm and go, there's something a little weird over here. Let's get in tune with that. What is that trying to tell me? Maybe it's just someone else's energy you're picking up on. But if we're clear and we're a clear channel and we're in our highest alignment, then we're constantly walking around like a little satellite to the divine going, woo, I just walked into a whole portal of distortion. Okay, I got to go shake that off like a dog, like when they get out of the water. It's like, shake that off, realign, find my center, walk the path, walk with that consciousness, walk with that harmony and grace. So that for me is like falling down is truly the next step. And it can happen multiple times. So I can be fully in alignment, and then like this last couple days, I just got sucker punched again. I allowed that energy into my field. It sucker punched me. It hooked into my power center and threw me on the ground like a massive wave in Hawaii. You know, like you're under the water and where is up? Oh, and I'm scurrying around in the sand and the water and like, I can't breathe. I'm going to die. Okay, wait, don't fight. Don't struggle. Just float. And then you'll finally find the surface. Oh, there's the light. There's the air. I can breathe again. Okay, what just happened? Whew, okay, compassion. Okay, rest. Okay, sleep. Okay, nurture self-love. Don't condemn yourself for going through another loop. It'll happen faster and faster until you're just shot out of it because your frequency is like, oh, hell no. No, oh, heaven no. I'm not allowing that frequency into my field again. So, yeah, so much self-compassion and service to the process of getting down into humility.
So beautiful. And the piece about the story is, I think, so key. You know, when I was doing a lot of theta healing and stuff like that, whatever I was seeing in someone, you can't talk about it with them, because then it doesn't matter how much clearing you do. If they have a mental imagery of, oh yes, I was burnt at a witch as a witch at the stake, or yes, I was, burned down in battle, or I was this, I was that. The more story that you have, the more you just recreate and solidify all of the patterns and energies related to that. And so I love all of those more abstract ways of kind of working to just let our left brain go and just not control it so much. And I keep having dreams at the moment around this, of being in a car with a male driver, and then he either kills himself, which is like kind of weird, or I've got a horse and cart and then the horse suddenly disappears, so I'm in a carriage just free falling. There's all of these things about the control or the steering mechanism being severed. And the other day, one of those ended up with me going to my own wedding, which I had never actually went to, in a horse and carriage without a horse, and then somehow like going down a hill in this free fall carriage. And I said to my friend in the dream at the end, I think that deliberately happened just to teach me that I can fly. And that was within the dream. I feel like another part of this whole journey that's so important is the aspect of forgiveness, of not of the not of the behavior of the other, if we're in that kind of scenario of toxicity, but forgiving the spirit of them, because they've turned up in exactly, the perfect timing, the divine time. And so the anger that we can hold on to in those situations can actually just really destroy ourselves even more. So being able to forgive that soul and to actually have that pure unconditional love for that soul as well, because, they have come in at exactly the right moment. They are exactly the medicine that we need. It's just some medicine. Have you tasted Chinese herbs? They're dreadful. But medicine can be really sour. But it's what we needed. So I think that forgiveness is really important just to help us move on.
There's so much in what you're saying here with forgiveness. And I mean, just to share, like in real time, in the past 48 hours, this like window of another initiation that I went through, I've known that from surrender, the next step is forgiveness. Like it's the divine feminine way, and it is the divine masculine way. It's the feminine going into the masculine, because for surrender is like the center point, and forgiveness for me is like the divine masculine part of the divine feminine, because it's like the right foot is the forgiveness, because it's always in action. We have to it's the reciprocal exchange between unconditional love and forgiveness. Forgive, unconditional love, forgive, unconditional. And the center point is surrender, right? That figure 8. So that active forgiving in every process that we are rebuilding our new construct. I forgive the old so that I can welcome the new. That's the reciprocity. We can't move to the next step until we forgive. So it's a vital part of the process. And so what just came through to me, as you were saying about like forgiving their higher self, as I was going through this initiation 48 hours ago of like a pretty, the sucker punch, I got a text message from my ex-husband. Hey, thinking of you. Are you okay? As I was literally in the midst of like my whole nervous system was like in the midst of that charge of like what the sucker punch initiated. And then 6 hours later, 8 hours later, I got a text message from a love of my life from probably 20 years ago, out of nowhere. I have not heard from him in over a decade. And within that period, that window where I was taking my power back from this initiation of my twin flame, something catapulted as I was decreeing. I was like, no, I let this go. I take my power back. I'm not going to fall into this loop again. Then these 2 signals came from the universe to show me the protector, and another deep love just showed up in my life, in my field. Like, I'm right here. The divine masculine is already holding you at a distance. And my ex-husband and I have an incredible relationship now. And so yesterday I was like in my kitchen, hadn't allowed myself, I was moving through it all. And I left him a voice message. Hey, just wanted to let you know, da, da. And in the process of making some food and talking to a voice message, I start crying and cracking open around how much he means to me in an energetic signature at a distance. Even though we spent a decade together, it was a really hard separation. We found each other again, and that him and his son are my family. And this twin flame on me and his daughter are my family. And they're not in my life anymore. But somehow these Trinity constructs of father, mother, child have been in my field to show me something. And I was like, I know that you came into my life as an incredible catalyst for me to return to my own becoming. And the same with the twin flame that just went through another initiation. Like 2 weeks ago, I kind of said the same thing to him, was like, you have come into my life to tear me down, but to reawaken me. And I'm so grateful for that process. And I forgive you. I forgive myself for every part of myself that I blamed you for my pain, but my pain was a part of my becoming. So this is, again, this like return to the 0 point means there's no charge there. My ex-husband, the ex-twin flame, if I can come into neutrality with both of those energetic fields and know that whether it's the man of my dreams from 20 years ago to the one that I left 3 years ago to the one that I left a couple of weeks ago, it doesn't matter. They're all kind of the same man because they're an aspect of myself. And so as they're showing up in my field to show me another mirror of my multidimensional being, oh, I'm getting closer. I'm getting closer. I'm getting closer. I'm chiseling away at that alignment so that I know that I can fully hold this. And then no matter what shows up as a mirror, I can look at it and go, I forgive you. And I think of Yeshua, I forgive you, my child. Forgive them for what they do not know. Forgive me for what I do not know yet about myself, as this mirror shows up in my field to show me another part of myself that I need to look at and I need to investigate and I need to go into and break apart and fall to the ground and pick myself back up and go, oh, here I am in my fairy princess clothes, ready for life.
That's it.
So crazy.
That's so beautiful. and that self-forgiveness brings us to the next little bit actually of falling back on it, but falling back on our feet. And I think that, you know, self-forgiveness is so important because it's really easy to chastise ourselves for going around these cycles yet again. And like, oh, really? I thought you were done with that. Yeah, I know. Like, clearly not, because clearly we're going in on another level now, right? Or on another facet of the multifaceted realm that we're clearing out collectively right now. And so just although we're doing this incredible like multi-dimensional work on so many different layers and realms and potentials and timelines and like all of the things, you know, and it's great to have this concept of it like that, so you can kind of come out and get like the bird's eye view, you know, and just go, okay, this all makes sense. But we're still fragile little human hearts with our fragile little girls and our fragile little boys, and you know, we need to take care of ourselves and just forgive ourselves for being human as well. And so, you know, to me, so much of just falling back on our feet is just allowing ourselves to go through that and just, you know, being able to stand in front of the mirror with our soggy red eyes and snotty faces and red and puffy from screaming and like, you know, doing whatever we need to do and just go, hey, kiddo, okay, we're still here. I still love you. You know, pull your shoes on, pull your socks up. Like, let's just go out and probably have another round, but we're okay. We're doing all right. Like we really need to treat ourselves with kid gloves and, you know, just cotton wool ourselves sometimes because it's a really tough time. It just is.
Yeah.
Forgive ourselves for our own humanness, right?
Absolutely. And that's, you know, when I spoke about the Trinity, that's the Trinity within, right? We give ourselves the permission to be the holy child, to cry our eyes out and hear that like that high-pitched squeal of the little kid when their heart's just like, you know, just this feeling of like, I'm allowed to be curled up in my ball with my stuffed animal and my coziest clothes and just like cry my eyes out. And that aspect of our own self-mothering, the nurturing mother to stroke my hair and like tell me, yeah, I get to do that to myself now. And then the masculine showing up, it's like, okay, sweetheart, I think it's time now. Let's get up. Like you said, pull your socks up. You got mom and dad right here with you, in you. This is the new construct of our sovereignty, to be the full constellation of the divine family. We are the Trinity walking. We are the Trinity in every chakra point of our multidimensional self, reorganizing our parts back into the harmonic one, into the harmony with the divine frequency, the song of the universe, right? The divine Sophia and the Christic consciousness. there's so many words on it, but it's truly like a harmonization with the stories that if we pull apart the picture, right? When we look at film, it's just a movie script, a movie reel. But if there's no music to it, it's almost empty. So as long as we give it charge, then the story can be charged and continue to move the projection of what our reality is. As soon as we separate the story, go back into the soundtrack. What's the sound file of my life? What's the sound file of that story? Is it distortion? Is there harmony in it? Is there like a climax in the hero's journey where the hero gets it and finally, right? And what's the closure to it? And so if we can kind of listen on the inner realm to that, what is the triangle? It's light. Triangles come in as light, right? The frequency of the rainbow coming through, that is the light we give to the projection of our story. Then we have a soundtrack of our emotional body giving it the sound, the score of the story. So when we dissolve it all down to nothing and go, oh, that's just another story I'm recreating. It's going back to the original wound of my own construct, or is it the original wound of creation and feeling like we've been abandoned, we've been betrayed, we've been shamed and guilted and suppressed and controlled and manipulated. It's like, oh my gosh, how many more times do I have to put my head in the toilet for mankind's resurrection? And then shake it off and go, okay, here I am again. And then the ability to see the lineage of that story of the hero's journey from the beginning and recognize, yes, I'm all the characters. I've played every role. What is the role now? What is the new world that we're stepping into? We want to get on our feet and go, wait, I'm not playing a role anymore. I'm fully arrived. I am the sovereign union of Mother, Father, God, Child. I am the light of the cosmos, and I am Terra Nova being reborn. I am, right? I am source in creation, in physical form. And so that part for me is that I play with a lot because I've been a storyteller my whole life as a professional dancer and an actor and a singer and a healer and right? We've worn so many hats. And now it's like, no, I want to dissolve all the characters. I want to put all the characters into a big pile and then pull the essence of every character into one and say, who am I? That's it. That for me is like, okay, now I'm on my feet. Now I'm truly walking in that highest alignment. So starting every day and being like, I am presence. I am source embodied. I am the divine mother. I am the divine child. I am the divine father, right? You get to play it and choreograph it and direct it and produce it into the new earth, into the new starseed living on the physical realm, in the physical realm.
Beautiful. And that whole idea of creating out of it, to me, that's one of the key components of moving through this situation that we're in right now is really, I've renamed this space Digital Alkhemi because we are literally alchemizing all of these energies on all of these realms across all of these times through these tiny little human bodies. We are literally the alchemizers. And to me, that's why the surrender is so important, because our body does have the wisdom and the know-how and the ability to alchemize all of these energies. We don't need to force a lot to happen except to be witness and embody it, which is what the surrender is. And then, helping it to move through the writing and the movement and the screaming and the singing and the dancing and all of the things, and being able to put that into a positive outcome, or at least a constructive outcome, I think is one of the real gifts of that. And in the hero's journey that you mentioned, well, what do you do when you come up the other side after the proverbial dark night of the soul and the final battle? well, you bring your gifts back home to the community.
Right.
And, you know, that's part of, you know, being in here in communion and sharing our stories and starting to generate that community. And this is what then brings us to the art of falling into grace. because
My
this
favorite
is
part. Grace is
pardon? Your favorite part.
Grace is like fairy dust.
Because this is the communion, this is the distillation, this is the, you know, bringing the experience into some kind of wisdom and then bringing that into some kind of medicine, is, you know, weaving these common threads between us all, so that, you know, between all of our distillates of experience, we start to create this really beautiful foundation that we can start to weave something new onto. That, you know, how many of us have been so desperate to go home, to find home, to find our tribe, you know, especially, I don't know how many people have said in the last, you know, 2 years, I want to go home, but I don't know where home is. And to me, it's because the frequency of home, it can't land here in this planet, in this realm, until we clear the last of the debris. And so part of clearing the debris is sharing, because it helps us all through our common experience, and just going, okay, I'm not a ship adrift at sea on my own in the dark. This is a common experience. It doesn't make it any less messy, but at least having that context and just knowing that it is a process. We are going to come out of it on the other side, even if it doesn't feel like it.
Yeah.
Our bodies know what they're doing. Our souls know what they're doing. The earth knows what she's doing, I think. The cosmos knows what it's doing. We're just in this thing and we just got to ride it.
Yeah. A visual comes forth just as you said that. And, you know, I always kind of try to see things in a micro macro, right? In one moment, I'm in the micro and I'm seeing down in the body and all the parts, and then I'm seeing the macro, and then I'm like, okay, where am I in all of this? What's my part? And I often play in this field of seeing, like you just said, the hero's journey, right? We get to this place now, we want to bring back. So we're reorganized. Our gifts are back online. We've got a higher perspective. And now the gift is offering it, right? It's now bringing it forward to say, oh, here, I've done all this alchemy. I've turned things into gold. And now I'm going to give the gold away. And this is the reciprocal exchange within the human field. And it's exactly what's happened inside our body complex at the micro, because we had a full reorganization in our liver where there was distortion. We exchanged a bunch of, frenetic frequencies to harmonic frequencies. We've alchemized into health and wellness. And now we've discharged through detoxing all of the old. And now we're like, oh, I'm in this new body. And how long did that take? 90 days? Is it 3 months? Was it 6 months? Right? So we see that there is that pattern within the blueprint of the construct of creation, that we know that there is a process, there are steps that we have to go through, that there is there's a blueprint, there is a real recipe for the return of grace. There is like a true recipe of, oh, this is what the ancient ones did, this is what the star beings did, this is what Yeshua did, this is what this mogul within the wellness field did to achieve his pot of gold, whether that's his teaching or his empire, right? And as we see that, and we're like, oh, I want to create my life to be like this, what is the recipe that we're following? And I think that this is, how do we truly come into grace? Is that just more money in the bank? Is that me finding my purpose? Is that me, right? Is that me being able to have abundance to offer for free? Like, I just want to offer my gifts and to donation basis. I don't want to do this for money because my life's purpose is here to help others find their life purpose and feel that we have so much abundance moving through us that we're in this constant reciprocal exchange, because that's the feminine. The masculine old construct of control manipulation is that I'm not enough. I don't have enough to give, so I have to overcharge what I have in order to feel like I'm getting enough for me to survive, because I'm in survival mode. As we deconstruct that entire template and we rebuild from the divine grace within us that we are all restoring within us, we know that eventually there, as you just said, sacred commerce will be fully online. We'll be in this reciprocity that no matter where we go, it will be just an exchange of grace. It will be telepathic. It will be, here's the offering of abundance for you right in the perfect time that that person is asking for it and needing it and calling it into their field, because we'll be in such harmony with the cells of Mother Earth, which we are. We're like the satellite dishes connected directly to the cells of consciousness on Mother Earth, saying, I am your bodies, the cellular body of humanity, remembering, oh, we are one. We're one body working together, going, oh, the heart needs this nutrients. Okay, liver, can you please work on that and send that up to the heart? And can you do, we don't tell our body what to do. We don't tell it when to breathe and how to digest and how to do this. It works in harmony on itself. If we're in harmony with the body and we're allowing the infinite intelligence on the microcosmic realm to do its job, to do the, know that it all knows its choreography. These little cells go here and this energy goes here, right? You're like, I'm doing my grace, and the glitter and gold is pouring on me while the show inside me is happening. And I then just need to be this graceful body walking through the earth realm going, okay, divine, where do I need to show up? What are the services that I need to offer that are alchemizing out of me right now as an offering to this collective cellular field that is hungry for this nutrients? And then you follow your path in divine order and go, oh, I showed up at the right place at the right time, and I received this amazing connection, and I got this amazing abundance. And you also gave something too. Then you know the law of reciprocity and that divine exchange of commerce that Hatshepsut was completely in tune with. She's a daughter of Ra. Of course she was. She was in her divine feminine, and she was leading from that divine feminine template. And it's just so beautiful to see that, like, we're getting closer, guys. Keep going, keep cultivating, keep your hands in the soil and get the nutrients for your soul's reference, so that grace naturally puts you back on your feet and you're like, I've had a come to Jesus moment. Oh, the angels are singing through me. And now I know this is where I have to go. You know, this is my path. And it doesn't have to be like biblical or I'm now the new prophet of the new age. No, we are all the Christ consciousness coming back into embodiment of total sovereignty with the construct of the universe supporting us in our sacred temple, our sacred geometry that's in every cell of our body, saying, oh, it's when we see the little sand machines and we put frequency in it and it makes a natural, right, sacred geometry, that's it. If I'm harmonizing, if I'm oscillating my body with a sacred frequency, every cell will take the same shape. And I will know that that is the home beacon of my heart saying, go this direction. This is the harmonizing with the one. It's like, listen, what is oscillating? Is it distortion? Where do I feel it in just one spot? Is it a hook? Is it is it a field that is not in harmony with me? Okay, what do I need to do to harmonize this so it doesn't tell all the other cells to follow it? That's where we become the honing beacon, go like, ooh, this feels like really wobbly. What's going on here? Oh, is that me? Is that something outside of me? Come back to center. Where's my harmony? Where's my grace? Where's my alignment and my true north? Okay, now I found it. Now I move forward with all of the cells of my body. This is harmonizing Terra Nova one hand in the soil, one walk at a time, one temple coming back online at a time, because we are the living temples of planet Earth. And that is grace. That is like landing on your feet and knowing, oh, I'm plugged into her, I'm plugged into the highest, and let's do this. I'm ready.
And one other point regarding that I think is important to just speak to as well is that the closer we get to that kind of 0 point, that beautiful harmony, that divine kind of alignment, the more other things are trying to push us out of alignment. And so just to be aware of that and kind of prepared for that as well, that it's not to treat all of those distractions as necessarily something a sign that you've gone off course, but more that you're really on course. And as long as we're still in the rubble of the old paradigm, we just are still going to get all of those fractured shadows and stuff coming in, just like trying to pull us back.
Yeah.
And I'm just finding every day it's like there's more noise, there's more like technology breakdowns, there's more just weird stuff going out on the street, there's more building, there's more things going wrong. And it's just almost like reminders, just a reminder to stay on the path, stay on the path. And the number of days or moments I've just kind of gone, is that all you've got? Like, really? Like little children just trying to throw sticks and stones at us? Like, just get a grip. So, it's not all peaches and roses when you're walking the path either. But this is why it's so important to just kind of find our center point and just not take the world too personally, and not take our experience too personally. And I just wanted to talk about briefly the balance that we come into as well, that in nature there's no waste, there's no excess. Everything does find a natural flow. And to me, this is what part of moving forwards and through past this, whatever these shackles have been, and back into union and harmony with the greater collective. That's what it is. It's coming back to that space where eventually we won't need to save up for a rainy day. Like a friend and I were chatting years ago now, maybe 10 years ago, about what would we do if we had like $30 trillion to spend. We could spend it like that. On what? On to create a society where we don't need money anymore. So, moving towards that space of, okay, so the sacred commerce starts to create more of that kind of fairness and reciprocity, until we can get ultimately to the space of evolution where we don't need trade at all. We're just simply in our space of gifting. And I have a feeling that will be potentially generations down the line, but it's just nice to kind of keep that in our mind's eye.
Absolutely. And just one little piece I wanted to tag on to what you just said, because it really initiated it as you were speaking. Because grace for me, so two things. One, when I think of grace because of the word, I think of those that were called grace, like Princess Diana or Grace Kelly. And you have these images of what is grace, the princess, the fairy godmother, right? So this essence of what grace is. But if you think of, for instance, Princess Diana's story, we know she was surrounded by distortion. She was in the absolute inverted construct, but she continued to hold her grace. And then she was, of course, taken down. So it's like this remembrance that no matter what, anyone who has accessed that highest frequency is going to be attacked. because it's almost like, no, we don't want you to be golden. We don't want you to align with the divine, because the distortion is real, that the matrix is a real thing. So we know that no matter what we do, whether it's through personal relationship that's, I don't know, psychically sent to us to like attack our system so that we can forge into higher gold. Is it a part of the divine plan that as soon as we get into alignment, we are given bigger initiations? And like you said, oh, is that all you got? Or the days where I'm like, there's nothing happening. Wow, I feel like I'm just floating right now. Shouldn't I be going through some kind of initiation? Because I've gotten so used to, I call it my Anubis gym. Anubis is the dog right here, who's the protector of like releasing all karma in the underworld. It's like, oh, I have to go through Anubis's gym to rise up into Serapis Bey, who's another ascended master, who's like the ascension flame. I got to go through the ascension flame. But in order to get to the ascension flame to really rise, I got to go into the underworld, and I got to like tear down all of this distortion within my body complex and then see it outside of me. And the last piece is, yeah, not letting it get to me. I see distortion around me every day. And now I just kind of like, I'm just floating through it with joy. Because joy for me is gold. Joy is gold. If we can stay like Cinderella or like Snow White singing to the trees and the butterflies and whatever, even though war and destruction is still happening, then we're holding that alignment, and then nothing can touch us. Then the laughter can come through and like, look at that. Oh my gosh, I just got another initiation. And that was like something I was trying to do, as I was like hit, and the sucker punch was like, okay, I'm in this frequency. My whole body's shaking. What's happening? I'm in shock. Okay, I'm out of my body. What do I need? Get in your body. Okay, move, dance, breath, sound, get back in your body. And then once you're in that alignment, now activate joy. And you like recently had your joy convergence, and that's it. What do I need to activate joy? Because as soon as I go into joy, I'm in grace. As soon as I'm into grace, I'm more in alignment with my highest, which is the gold. When I'm in gold, nothing can touch me. Then I'm sovereign. That's why those are all so succinct with the alchemizing process. The alchemizing has to like shed it all down to the raw structures of the universe and rebuild into gold. The sword and the stone. And we are like, ta-da, here, I just pulled it out. And I'm waving it around like a fairy wand and having fun with it.
That's it. Oh, beautiful. Lyraligh, I love talking to you. It's been such a pleasure having this chat with you. Would you like to, I know that you have so many beautiful gifts, and I've personally experienced your beautiful sound healing work and some of your amazing healing work. You're just such a blessing. Would you like to maybe just share a bit about some of your offerings, and if people would like to reach out to you?
Thank you. So the title I give myself in this field, where I try not to wear too many hats, is a multidimensional heart wisdom pioneer, because I know that I'm continuing to walk the path. I have by far not fully arrived, but my offerings are in sound, in movement, in light. So I do energy work with the realms, multiple realms. I do like karma clearing, balancing of the chakras, just full kind of like a body flush of just energetic clearing through sound and energy work. Movement, I've been a dancer for years. I really incorporate and help people one-on-one if they really want a deep dive in that, what I call the divine trinity of light, sound, and movement. And kind of, I've been doing it for a long time. There's like specific offerings. You can go to my website, LyraLighViolet.com. Harmonize to One is the first iteration of the work that I started to do with breath work, laughter, movement, sound, and meditation. So I was kind of guiding people with those 5 basic elements that are all things that you could do for free once you learn how to incorporate them into your daily life as a practice. And just know that it's right there. There's a whole new way coming through of how we receive and give. And all of my offerings, I have prices on my website, but I'm always open to someone to do a reciprocal exchange. So if anything looks too pricey for you, I'm always offering just a a barter exchange. So whether it's just a conversation, whether it's a practice, whether it's an actual in-session work or an online session, I'm open to all. At this, like I said, at this point in my life, I'm just on a walk, and I don't market. I don't like try to sell it. It's like whoever comes in my field is the one that is called for me to align with and offer something. So if it calls to you, reach out, and if it doesn't, then wonderful. But thank you.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Oh, walking each other home. And I'm just building up the platforms for Digital Alkhemi, but if people are wanting to just stay in touch, then yeah, there's a few links down the bottom. Tjoni.com is my main kind of website. Yeah, so thank you everybody for watching at home, and please leave your comments below. Let us know how are you all going out there. Yeah, it's pretty wild times, so a really good time for community and connection. So yeah, we look forward to seeing you on our next segment on Digital Alkhemi. So till next time, my friends, be well and keep dreaming a good dream. Ciao for now.
Bye. Thank you.